Sometimes it just does not mix, and I've said this as a Laker fan in recess. Till you get rid of the guy from Akron, this organization cannot move forward.
When the LeBron James-Luka Doncic partnership began with the Los Angeles Lakers blockbuster trade with the Dallas Mavericks, fans expected dominance, two generational playmakers, one super team. But behind the scenes, the fit started breaking down fast. So what exactly happened inside that locker room? And why did LeBron decide he couldn't make it work? The trade that changed everything. On February 1st, 2025, the Lakers acquired Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks in a trade that sent Anthony Davis and other assets to Dallas. It happened during one of the most chaotic NBA trade deadlines in recent memory. The move was a bold pivot by Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka and the front office, a clear signal that the organization was choosing to rebuild around a younger superstar, while LeBron, at 40 during the 2024-25 season, approached the twilight of his career. LeBron James had no advance notice. He found out the same way most people did, through the news cycle. When he first heard it, he called it a hoax. That was his word, a hoax. But LeBron is a businessman. He understood the logic. Doncic was 26, LeBron was 40. The franchise couldn't build its next decade around a player entering his 23rd season. So LeBron publicly endorsed the move. He respected Doncic's talent. He saw the fit, at least in theory. The problem was that the fit, in practice, didn't work. And the reason it didn't work comes down to one thing. LeBron James and Luka Doncic do the same job. Both are point forwards. Both need the ball in their hands to operate. Both run pick and roll. Both score in isolation. Both create for teammates off the dribble. Both control tempo. ESPN described their overlapping skill sets as creating inherent chemistry issues because neither player is accustomed to deferring possession for extended periods. When both are on the floor, the ball can't be in two places at once. Sources describe this dynamic as a push-pull, where the team's flow suffers whenever one star feels marginalized, a problem that echoes the Shaq-Kobe wars of the early 2000s, but intensified by the age gap and the explicit organizational shift toward Doncic.
Luka's never been good defensively.
That observation captures the other half of the issue. It's not just offense. Defensively, neither player gives you much at this stage. LeBron hasn't been a reliable defender since his Miami years, over a decade ago. Doncic has never been one. So you have two players who both need the ball on offense, and neither anchors the defense.
In the last time LeBron was really a good defensive player was probably the middle of his run in Miami? Scat, would that be fair to say? We're talking a decade ago.
And that's the core of the problem. The trade was designed to transition the franchise from LeBron to Luka. But transitions require coexistence in the interim, and coexistence requires compatibility. ESPN called this the most delicate superstar transition in NBA history. And within weeks of the trade, the on-court evidence started confirming why. After the deal, the Lakers' post-trade record hovered around 500, with the duo's overlapping ball-dominant styles leading to inconsistent performances. Defenses figured out the scheme fast. Load up on whoever has the ball, dare the other one to beat you from the outside, and watch the offense stall into contested isolations and forced turnovers. Games would swing wildly. One night, LeBron would dominate touches, while Luka floated off ball, looking uncomfortable, and the next night, the roles would reverse with the same ugly results. The Lakers exited the 2025 playoffs in the first round against the Minnesota Timberwolves, an elimination that stung because the talent on paper was supposed to be more than enough. It wasn't even close. LeBron's post-elimination response said everything without saying anything. He told reporters, "No comment. I never say that because my guy AD said what he needed and he was gone the following week." A pointed reference to Anthony Davis, who'd spoken his mind and was promptly shipped out in the Doncic deal. LeBron understood the message the front office was sending. Speak up and you're next. So the 2025-26 season began with the same unresolved tension, the same overlapping roles, and a front office that had already made its choice about the future. LeBron James was no longer the franchise. He just hadn't fully accepted it yet. The numbers don't lie. The eye test told one story, the data told a louder one, and the data was devastating for LeBron James. By late February 2026, the Lakers had assembled enough minutes across various lineup combinations to draw real conclusions. Head coach JJ Redick had deployed over 100 different five-man groupings throughout the season, rotating pieces in and out as he tried to find some combination that could unlock the full potential of his star-studded but fundamentally mismatched roster. Of those 100-plus combinations, the three most used lineups lineups painted a picture that was impossible to ignore and impossible to spin in LeBron's favor.
But I've combed through the data, Jason. Like, there are probably over 100 five-man lineups that the Lakers have deployed this season.
The most utilized lineup, clocking a whopping 226 minutes on the floor together, featured Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton, and Jake LaRavia. That group registered a minus 5.5 net rating per 100 possessions. In plain terms, if that lineup played an entire game, they'd lose by about 5.5 points. That translates to roughly a 25 to 30 win team over a full 82-game season. For a franchise with championship aspirations, that's catastrophic.
And really, there's 3 of them of the 130 that I've looked at. Like, the top 3 most utilized five-man lineups.
The second most used lineup was even more alarming. Doncic, James, Austin Reeves, Ayton, and Rui Hachimura shared the floor for 94 minutes and posted a staggering minus 23.6 net rating. Let that number sink in. Extrapolated over a full game, that group would lose by 24 points on average to their opponents. That's not a bad team. That's a historically terrible one. That's a lineup that would struggle to win 10 games in a season if you ran it as your starter unit all year.
2 of the 3 of them use LeBron James. 1 of the 3 of them does not use LeBron James. The 2 with LeBron James are terrible.
Then came the third lineup, the one that didn't include LeBron James. Doncic, Reeves, Smart, Hachimura, and Ayton played 81 minutes together. Their net rating, plus 16. That's not just good. If sustained over a full season, that would represent the greatest net rating in NBA history. For context, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the best team in the league that season, were operating at a plus 11.9 net rating. This LeBron-less lineup was destroying it.
They're minus 5.5 with one of them and minus 23.5 with the other one of them.
Now, nobody is suggesting that lineup would hold a plus 16 rating across 82 games. Sample sizes matter, and 81 minutes is a relatively small window. But the gap between the lineups with LeBron and the lineup without him was enormous. A swing of over 20 points per 100 possessions in some cases. That's not noise. That's a signal screaming at full volume.
Whereas the one five-man lineup of the top 3 most utilized without LeBron is plus 16. Now, what I'm talking about is net rating. That is per 100 possessions.
And it didn't stop at 5-man groupings. The 2-man data was equally damning and arguably even more revealing because it isolated the specific interpersonal combinations and removed the noise of the other 3 players on the floor.
If you look at any collection of 2 guys on the Lakers and their net rating, just Luka and just Austin Reeves are like roughly plus 5.
Doncic and Reeves together, roughly plus 5 per 100 possessions, a solid winning combination that suggested genuine chemistry and complementary skills. But pair LeBron with either Luka or Austin individually, and the number plummets to around minus 5 with both of those pairings.
With LeBron and Luka or LeBron and Austin, they're around minus 5 with both of those pairings. So a full 10-point swing.
A full 10-point swing in the wrong direction. That's the difference between a legitimate contender and a team stuck in the lottery, triggered entirely by the presence or absence of one player. Not a role player, not a bench piece, the greatest player of his generation. And the numbers said he was making the team worse every time he stepped on the hardwood.
It doesn't matter which way you want to cut it. LeBron is the one.
And perhaps the most telling data point of all, the team's overall record when all 3 stars, Doncic, James, and Reeves, played together. In the 14 games where that trio was healthy and available, the Lakers went just 8-6. A team with 2 of the 5 players in the entire league averaging 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, plus an all-star in LeBron. And they couldn't crack a 600 winning percentage together. The numbers were not ambiguous. The common denominator in every underperforming lineup was the same person. The Magic game, where it all boiled over. February 24th, 2026. Lakers versus Orlando Magic at Crypto.com Arena. The Lakers were 6.5-point favorites at home, and this was supposed to be a comfortable, confidence-building win for a team that desperately needed momentum in the brutally competitive Western Conference playoff race. Instead, it became the night that every simmering frustration between LeBron James and Luka Doncic finally bubbled to the surface in front of the cameras and the microphones. The Magic won 110-109. It was the Lakers' 4th loss in their last 6 games, a February slump that dropped them to 32-28 and left them clinging precariously to the 6th seed in the West. Doncic had one of his worst shooting nights of the entire season. 22 points on a painful 8 of 24 from the field, including a dreadful 2 of 10 from three-point range. He was wildly out of rhythm all game, misfiring from every spot on the floor. LeBron put up a more efficient stat line, 28 points, 12 assists, and 9 rebounds, but his crunch time execution faltered when it mattered most. The game's pivotal sequence unfolded in the final seconds, a chaotic stretch that would become the most dissected play of the Lakers season. LeBron missed a free throw with 44 seconds left. A make would have pushed the Lakers' lead to 3 points. Instead, the Magic stayed within striking distance. Then Wendell Carter Jr. grabbed an offensive rebound and scored to put Orlando up 110-109 with 6.7 seconds remaining. J.J. Redick called his final timeout and drew up a play designed to get Doncic a look. Doncic got the ball, crossed half court, and immediately faced a double team from Paolo Banchero and Anthony Black, 2 long, athletic defenders who trapped him near the sideline. He had a look. By most accounts, it was a wide open look, but Doncic had been shooting 2 of 10 from deep all night. The confidence wasn't there. He picked up his dribble and fired a pass to LeBron on the wing. LeBron caught it off balance and heaved a contested fadeaway 3 that rimmed out as the buzzer sounded. Game over. Crypto.com. Arena sat in stunned silence.
I knew I was open, but I just thought I was a little bit far. Tried to take one dribble closer. Probably shouldn't have picked up the ball.
Doncic was disarmingly honest in his post-game interview. He admitted he was open, acknowledged he should have taken the shot, and said he thought he was too far out and tried to take a dribble closer before making the fateful decision to pass instead. It was a refreshingly self-critical assessment from a young player who owned his mistake without qualification or excuse. Meanwhile, J.J. Redick hadn't even had a chance to debrief with Doncic about the decision yet. In his own press conference, the head coach tried to walk the diplomatic tightrope, noting that the play was designed to get Luka a look and that the team had a decent shot opportunity, but acknowledged he didn't know why Doncic chose to pass instead of pull the trigger. The confusion was the common theme among the coaching staff, among the players, and in the building. Nobody could explain what had just happened or why. LeBron's post-game comments carried a very different tone. Where Doncic pointed the finger at himself, LeBron's words landed on a different target.
No, we executed. Like I said, I feel like I'm not sure. I mean, obviously you have to ask Luka what he saw on that.
He started by saying the team executed, then immediately pivoted to suggesting you'd have to ask Luka what he saw, distancing himself from the decision that led to his missed shot. Then came the commentary that set the entire basketball internet on fire.
I thought he had a good look, and it looked like he kind of just lost his balance, didn't have a rhythm with the ball, whatever the case may be.
LeBron said Doncic had a good look, said it appeared Luka lost his balance, didn't have rhythm with the ball, and then noted that he himself was off balance when Doncic gave it to him. The implication being that Luka's pass put LeBron in a compromised position. It wasn't a direct accusation. It didn't need to be. The subtext was deafening, and everyone in the basketball world heard exactly what LeBron was really saying. This loss was on Luka. The fallout, accused of throwing Luka under the bus. Within hours of those post-game comments, the reaction was volcanic. Yahoo Sports published a report documenting the sweeping wave of fan backlash, with accusations that LeBron had disrespected Doncic and deliberately shifted blame onto his younger teammate. The hypocrisy was what enraged people the most. LeBron James, the player who has made an entire career out of passing in clutch situations, the player who has historically handed the ball off to teammates in the final seconds more times than anyone can count, was now publicly critiquing Luka Doncic for doing the exact same thing to him. Fan reactions flooded social media platforms with withering commentary. One widely shared post captured the collective frustration. Luka gave LeBron a taste of his own medicine by passing him the ball in the final seconds, the same way LeBron has done to teammates his entire career, and the first thing LeBron does is blame Luka. Others were more blunt, pointing out that LeBron missed the game-winning shot and should take the blame for once, that he was throwing his teammate under the bus, and that when he deferred for 20 years it was the right play, but when someone defers to him, suddenly it's a problem. The accusations carried real weight because they tapped into a long-standing pattern that LeBron's critics have observed throughout his career. The carefully worded press conference answers, the strategic ambiguity, the way accountability always seems to slide off him and land on someone else. And in this instance, the target was the franchise's designated future, a 27-year-old superstar the organization had just committed over $200 million to. Publicly critiquing him, even indirectly, indirectly risked undermining Doncic's confidence and authority at the worst possible moment. Two superstars whose games should theoretically complement each other on paper, but mathematically and chemically, they subtract from one another. You're putting 2 and 2 together and getting 3. And this incident didn't exist in a vacuum. It landed on top of months of accumulated organizational slights and behind-the-scenes maneuvers that had been steadily marginalizing LeBron's role in the franchise's decision-making apparatus. There was the secretive May 2025 dinner at Craig's restaurant in Los Angeles, where GM Rob Pelinka, coach JJ Redick, Doncic, and his manager Laura Beth Seeger discussed the franchise's long-term blueprint over Opus One wine and a detailed binder covering salary cap strategy under the new CBA. LeBron James was not invited. That binder, the same kind of strategic document that had historically been shared with LeBron as the franchise's alpha decision-maker, was now being presented exclusively to Doncic and his camp. The paparazzi captured Doncic signing autographs outside the restaurant. Afterward, with his manager describing the evening as a welcoming and supportive gesture from Lakers leadership. The symbolism couldn't have been more transparent. Then there was LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, issuing a statement after James exercised his $52.6 million player option for 2025-26. We understand the difficulty in winning now while preparing for the future. We do want to evaluate what's best for LeBron at this stage in his life and career. That statement was widely interpreted as a veiled trade request, or at minimum, a signal that LeBron's camp was watching every organizational move and wasn't entirely on board with the trajectory. The ripple effects were immediate. Brook Lopez signed with the Clippers instead of the Lakers that offseason, reportedly due to the uncertainty surrounding LeBron's future and the team's murky direction. And then there was the social media breadcrumb trail that kept speculation alive week after week. LeBron reposted a photo of himself in Cavaliers gear and was spotted wearing a welcome home hat linked to Cleveland. These weren't accidents. LeBron James doesn't post things accidentally. Every piece of content from his accounts is deliberate, meticulously curated, and the message being broadcast was unmistakable. He was weighing his options, and he wanted the world to know it.
Sometimes it just does not mix, and I've said this as a Laker fan in recess. Till you get rid of the guy from Akron, this organization cannot move forward.
The front office's response to the Magic game fallout was predictably diplomatic. Lakers management reportedly held internal meetings to address the situation, with Pelinka emphasizing unity and team-first mentality. Doncic and James publicly moved past it, combining for 65 points in a win over the Knicks 2 days later. But the damage was already done. The fracture was visible to everyone watching, and no amount of curated post-game handshakes or joint Instagram stories could paper over what the numbers, the body language, and the press conference transcripts had already revealed to the entire basketball world. The end game. Where does LeBron go from here? By March 2026, the Lakers sat at 38-28, 6th in the Western Conference. The individual statistics were impressive on both sides. Doncic was leading the team with 32.1 points, 9.4 assists, and 8.8 rebounds per game, numbers befitting the franchise player the organization had anointed him as. LeBron was still producing at 24.5 points, 8.2 assists, and 7.1 rebounds, numbers that earned him yet another All-Star selection at the age of 41, a testament to his remarkable physical longevity. But the team's net rating dropped by 3.2 points per 100 possessions when both played together. Individually brilliant, collectively diminished, two stars shining in isolation, who somehow produce less light when placed next to each other. So the question shifts from can they coexist, which the data had already answered with a resounding no, to what happens next. And the answer, according to multiple reports, is that the Lakers are not going to be the ones to blink. Yahoo Sports reported that the Lakers believe LeBron James will not request a trade, citing his no-trade clause, his son Bronny's presence on the roster, and the reality that few destinations would offer a meaningfully better championship opportunity for a 41-year-old player whose body, no matter how remarkably preserved, is operating on borrowed time. The organization's explicit focus remains on Doncic as the franchise cornerstone, with his contract extension already secured through 2030 at a potential $223 million. The front office has signaled where its loyalties lie through a series of unmistakable institutional moves. The Buss family's sale of their majority stake was announced to Doncic before it was communicated to James. Roster additions, DeAndre Ayton for rim protection and rebounding, Jake LaRavia for wing depth and versatility, were designed specifically to complement Doncic's playmaking style, not LeBron's declining skill set. The European visits the front office planned during Doncic's Eurobasket commitments, trips to discuss team culture, potential roster targets, and long-term organizational vision. Those were about Luka's franchise, built around Luka Luka's preferences. LeBron was conspicuously absent from those conversations. LeBron's most likely path is a summer 2026 departure through free agency. He could opt out of his final year or simply let it expire and choose his next destination on his own terms. Cleveland has emerged as the rumored favorite, offering the storybook going home narrative that would let LeBron close the circle where it all began. There's poetry in that, the kid from Akron returning one final time to finish his career in the city that raised him and the franchise that drafted him. But even that path has complications that could make it another version of the same problem. Cleveland already has James Harden and Donovan Mitchell, two more high-usage, ball-dominant guards who need the rock in their hands to function at their highest level. Harden ranks 18th all-time in usage rate. LeBron is 7th. Mitchell is 9th. Putting all three together would be recreating the exact same problem that has poisoned the Lakers experiment, just in a different city with different jerseys and different colored seats.
But what do you do, Jason? They can't cut him. JJ Redick's not gonna bench him. What do you do?
That's the dilemma that defines the final act of LeBron James's time in Los Angeles. You can't cut a player of his stature. You can't bench him without triggering a media firestorm that would consume the organization for weeks. You can't trade him past the deadline. You just wait. You let the season play out, absorb the first-round exit that everyone can see coming from miles away, and then part ways in the summer when the contracts expire and both sides can pretend it was mutual. And that observation cuts to the uncomfortable heart of where LeBron James stands. He delivered a championship to Los Angeles in 2020. He restored a franchise that had been irrelevant for half a decade before he arrived. But the chapter that followed, the injuries that derailed consecutive seasons, the play-in tournament appearances, the first-round exits, the failed roster experiments, and now the fundamental inability to coexist with the franchise's chosen successor has cast a long shadow over the glory of that championship bubble run. In 6 of LeBron's 8 seasons as a Laker, the team has either missed the playoffs entirely or been eliminated in the first round. That is the statistical legacy of his tenure in purple and gold, and no amount of individual accolades, all-star selections, or scoring milestones can rewrite that organizational record. The basketball reality is stark, uncomfortable, and unavoidable. LeBron James, at 41, still puts up numbers that look impressive on a stat sheet, but the advanced metrics, the lineup data, the on-court chemistry tests, the post-game press conferences, and the franchise's own behind-the-scenes actions all point in one direction. The Lakers are measurably, demonstrably better without him on the floor alongside their franchise centerpiece. The Lakers have made their decision. Luka Doncic is the present and the future. LeBron James is the past, a decorated, historic, championship-winning past, but the past nonetheless. And when two players cannot share the floor without making each other worse, the organization keeps the one with more years ahead of him. Every single time. LeBron James can no longer work with Luka Doncic, and the Lakers have decided that's LeBron's problem to solve, not Luka's. The irony of it all is that LeBron James, the player who has orchestrated more roster decisions, coaching hires, and front office maneuvers than perhaps any athlete in the history of professional sports, now finds himself on the receiving end of an organizational power play that he has no leverage to counter. He picked JJ Redick. He signed off on the franchise's direction for years. He wielded influence that extended from the locker room to the boardroom. And now that same franchise has looked at the data, looked at the future, and decided to build around someone else. The king of player empowerment has been dethroned by a front office doing exactly what he would have done in their position, choosing the younger, longer-term asset over the aging, diminishing one. That might be the most fitting ending of all. That wraps up this video. For more interesting videos like this, check out the cards on your screen.